Oh, it's from
issues. We're going to have a relatively short seminar today. I'm going to be shortening things up just a tad. My name is Brian Stokes. I am in San Diego. I am the chief instructor of the Scala San Marco. And we are focused almost exclusively on the art of Fior and almost specifically on the Getty manuscript, in large part because I have had access on numerous occasions to it. And I can tell you that it looks much different than anything that you've seen, even in photographs, even the high res. We'll talk about that in a second. So what I want to do first is go on and just talk about Fior di Battaglia. Knowing that such an august company out there has already dealt with Fior on numerous occasions, I'm not going to go into great detail about him. I just want to go on and talk about the manuscript itself, which is very interesting. A lot of people ask me, why is there such a different coloration between the pages? And I thought I'd point that out real quick. Here on the left, you can see it's kind of clear. And here on the right, you can see it's very dark. Now, the specific reason is that on vellum, which is either goat skin or sheepskin, you have two sides. You have the outside and you have the inside. The inside is very clean, as you can well see, but on the outside, you see hair follicles. So when you're looking through the manuscripts, I don't know, I know this really happened specifically with this manuscript. I haven't studied much of any other work besides this, the Paris, and a little bit of the Morgan I've looked at, but I'm focused almost exclusively on the Getty right now. But I don't know if other medieval manuscripts have this, but if you do see it dark, this is the reason why. Now the second part that I wanted to talk about is the manuscript construction. And as I just mentioned, it's vellum inside out. Now it is put together in quires of four, I want to say sheets of vellum, a quire being what they do. I don't know, can you see me okay?
No, I'll still be switching.
No, okay, you do, can you see this? Okay, well, so what, so what happens in a case is that when they put these together, they take four skins, draw the inside, outside, and then put them together as one piece and put them into the book, and the next quire comes in, and the next quire comes in, and so on as they construct the book. There were actually, interestingly enough, two floating pages in the Fior manuscript, and one, as we all know, is on, those who study Fior, is on page 40, because apparently the people who pulled it apart, when they were rebinding it, put the fifth master of the dagger in the middle of one of the armored sections. All right. So it was drawn in studio. I have now talked to 3 different curators at the Getty, all PhDs, brilliant people, and they say that because the light source is from the same location, you end up, they believe that this was done one bit at a time in studio And you can see that. I also see that a little bit in Flos Dilatorum. Again, I haven't looked enough at the other two to really be saying anything about them. Sequence of creation was the drawing was done first, followed by the paragraph, the descriptive paragraph. Coloration was done next, and at the end you had the metalwork was added on. Now, as an aside, corrections on vellum. A drawing on vellum can be corrected according to one expert who happens to be the curator of Getty. If the skin is good, it can be scraped up to 17 times to correct it. So what I wanted to show you is one such correction, and you can see it here. The very first drawing, apparently what happened is that whoever did the metal work put the crown on the wrong side. Now, you can see it both on the left and right, both on the master and the player. If anybody has any questions, just pop them in, by the way. Okay, there's a close-up, and you can see the scrapes. Now, what I've done with the manuscript is I've sat, and I said sat with it a number of times, and what I'll do is I'll hold the page slightly off angle so I can look down at an angle to see if I can see scrape marks. And what's really fascinating is there are probably 30 plus corrections in the drawings from the very beginning. Even the horse at the very end has been scraped and redrawn. And it's really fascinating to see the parts of the manuscript that have been corrected. You have, for example, down here, the foot you can see of the master has been, the fellow on the left's been corrected, the crown's been slightly redrawn on the right. You can even see where they first drew in the hands on the fellow on the right side, and then redrew a little bit and brought it closer together. You can also see the back foot of the fellow on the right was drawn initially and then redrawn, reworked, with a little bit of scraping down at the foot. Here's another one. First remedy master of the dagger. We didn't have this capability of noting this before we had the high reses available. And I'll tell you, I'd really like to get my hands on a Talhofer or some of the others to see if there's any corrections like this, because the more corrections that are in this thing, the more I'm coming to the realization that it's probably drawn correctly. And just because I don't understand it doesn't make it wrong. I just have to practice it until I do understand it. It goes on and on. Here's another one where a picture was completely redrawn. You can see where the fellow had fallen off, and they came back through. This is on the right side, and you can see his body outline. Now on the left, what's fascinating is that the hand on the left, which comes from the third play of the first remedy master of the dagger, was redrawn. Now this thing is probably, 4 millimeters in size? So when playing with this, it was fascinating because we tried this move where the person clamped his hand, and the scholar could not succeed at this play. This only works if the, let's see if I can pull that up. I don't know if I have that. Hey, I'll pull it up in a sec so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's more. Okay, so it's on and on and on. You can see that the leg was redrawn. You can see that the hand was redrawn. Again, this is throughout the entire manuscript. You have it in the Rosati, you have it in dagger, lots in dagger, of course it's the largest part. You have it in the two-handed sword section, the one-handed sword section, you have it in the armored section. I haven't seen any corrections yet in the horse, but I haven't really been focused on the cavalry or riding section yet. So I believe that the manuscript was drawn correctly, and again, it's for me to figure out why the plays appear the way they do. The fact the manuscript has multiple corrections reinforces this belief. So my saying is always to tell my students, just because I don't understand it doesn't make it wrong. And it's not what you're looking at, it's what you see. Again, if this had one correction on it, I'd say, okay, well, you can say that maybe some of these things were drawn wrong. But when you have correction after correction after correction after correction throughout the entire manuscript, it makes me think, okay, what if I start with this and say it is absolutely correct, and then work it backwards and see if I can understand what's going on? Now this is interesting. I want to swing over real quick and just talk about some of the techniques. I had Roberto Loyal Martinez from Mexico stay with me at the beginning of the year. Where did we go to? We went to the Huntington Beach event that was put on by the Human Alliance. SoCal, okay, and you can see the fellow on the left, and you don't see his thumb, and it turns out that that is most likely a shield how, I can't quite figure out what it is, but the thumb is on the far side of the sword. And what's kind of interesting as an aside for those of you who admire, I had Roberto, I said, what do they call us in German? That shows you how much German I know. And he pulled out his Meyer book. And in his Meyer book, he started going through and he showed me, what, plate B? Is it plate B that's got the shield out? I think so. And so I was looking back at the paragraphs that are in a different section that talk about that specific plate. And I pointed out to Roberto, and he hadn't seen this before, I don't know how many of you know this, but if you follow the paragraphs, like for the first paragraph describes the big picture on the plate. The next paragraph describes the next picture that's to the left. So it says if you do this, you get to this position, and then if you go to the next play, not only do you have the drawing, but you have the descriptive paragraph, which is really fascinating because all of a sudden now you can look at Meyer and you can see the rotation of the paragraphs here describing what's going on, and then you can see on the drawings being described in the paragraphs. Now sometimes they go backwards and go back to the previous play because you end up going back to another position, but in any case. So here's a shield how, as Roberto called it. Okay, and you can see very closely that you've got the fingers, you've got 4 fingers and no thumb. Now when a fellow goes through and corrects a hand that's 4 millimeters in size, you can imagine that if this was wrong, he'd correct this because he had things entirely straight. So it looks to me like that's a false edge cut coming from the outside, which makes it interesting because this on here, can you see my mouse?
Yes.
Okay, this is a true edge. You can follow it all the way up. There's a true edge cut, and this actually ends up being false edge on this side because he's doing the shield now. You have another one let me see if I can back that up. I don't know how to back up here. How to back up? So, there we go. Okay, here's another one. So you don't see the thumb on here, and yet that looks like there's the bottom edge of his hand. So this looks like a false edge cut to the head. By the way, there's a little scrape mark right there, so that was corrected. Now, I'm looking at structure in the martial arts. I was going to talk a bit more, but like I said, we're sort of short on time here. And what I wanted to do is to have a little bit of fun with both Becca and John. And what I want to do is I want to show you some of the things I'm seeing in Fiore's art that I'm going to get off this specific screen here. Hold on a second. I want to pull up. I'm going to pull up Fiore. Where is this? Okay. Okay. Is this coming over okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here. 5, 6, 7. Okay. What I want to go to.
What is this?
Right.
What is this?
Sorry, guys. This was, I'm shortening things up and maybe it's making it longer. Okay. Alright. Well, look at this first. This is interesting.
I'm not good taking.
Okay, back, stand up real quick, and John, can you, okay, now what I'm going to have happen is Beck is just going to stand, right foot forward, put her arm straight out, and just hold it out. We're going to put your glove on, just one arm, just one hand. Okay, now, what I want you to do, John, is push against her. I don't want you to change your feet at all, Becca. Just go ahead and push, John. You can push her right over, all right? Now, easy. Okay, go back, roll your back foot that I showed you in Mexico. Okay, now do it again. Now, Becca could take 2 or 3 people pushing on her, and what you're looking at is right here. Okay, thank you. But we're going to do some more here. What you're looking at is right here. What you see is this foot being turned. Throughout Fiore's art, you're going to see this foot turn. You see it in the next page particularly, where you look at, let's see, oh, come on. Sorry, guys and ladies. There we go. Okay. So here we have it, particularly in this picture here. Okay, so there it is, first master, first remedy master, he's got his foot turned. So you catch it the way it's shown, this person can push all day long, and this individual isn't going anywhere, in part because of that, but also because of his shoulder work. I should have said that I've been doing martial arts probably, well, Japanese martial arts for 38 years. So I've got a little bit of background in doing hand-to-hand work and sword work. So I sort of look at things a little bit different, trying to figure out why things are happening the way they're happening. Notice both these feet. If you get in this position and you have your feet flat, this person can pull you off. If you have your feet angled this way, this person cannot move you at all, which is really a fascinating thing when you start looking at this. Now, I noticed it in Talaf. I'm going to go turn off my clock real quick. Hold on a second. So in any case, that's the side. This particular drawing is also the drawing on which you see the hand redrawn. If you get in this exact position and this person clamps their fist, this will not work. It's really, it amazes me how much the masters of old understood structure, not just Fiore. I see it in Marozzo. I see it. I spent last night with Marozzo and Agrippa and whoever else, Fiore, looking at some of the different books that I've got. And throughout all of them, I see the same kind of structures. What I'd like to do next, if I could, Becca, could you stand up real quick? And John, can you push on her again? We can see, it's easy for him to push on just one hand out. Same as you did before. Good. Okay, push her. Okay, now, Becca, what I want you to do, and just use one hand, don't put your full weight on this. Okay, Becca, what I want you to do is turn your front foot 10 degrees in to your left. To your left, yeah. Turn it in. Put your hand up. Okay, go ahead and push. Now, that structure, okay? If her foot is going straight forward, John can easily push her over. Now you can turn it outside too. Okay, stop and turn to the outside. Same thing. Okay, wait a minute, John. Wait a minute, John. Okay, now, okay, same thing. You can't push her. Okay, that is throughout the book. So I'm going to pull out something real quick here. Relax a second. Okay, that's throughout the books. You'll see it in, for example, making it short makes it a lot longer. It's funny. You can see foot positions such as here. Okay. Okay, sorry. See that? Those lines on the ground are really fascinating because what they do is they actually show you both the distance and the position of the feet as well as the shading. I've got a T-ball up on the wall over there, and it's particularly fine on this thing. But you can see this is a 1568 copy of Marozzo. This is an original, and you can see the footwork. Okay, so there it is with the foot out. Now, what's fascinating? Okay, John, can you get up with Becca again? Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so Becca, what I want you to do is put your hand up. Can you see me okay? Just put your hand up like this. And what you're going to do, yeah, good. And put your arm forward. I'm sorry. Put your right hand forward. I got to think this out. I'm sorry. Left hand forward, right hand up. Okay, now put it in the fist. Put it in the fist, and like you're holding a sword against John. Okay, like you're gonna cut him with a sword. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you hold it up here, go ahead and push, John.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Now put your arm down. Back up. Put your up arm down. Now push. See? Okay. Moroso, the books like that, I've even seen Talhofer, they all show this. They all show foot position relative to body. Now here's a fun thing. Okay, John, if you stand with your right foot forward and your arm out. Back if you'd step with your left foot forward and your left hand out against John's wrist. Okay, so just like this, what you're going to do is you're going to cross like this, okay? So, okay, hold on a second. Wait. Can I borrow it for a second? Okay, so I'm going to get a guy here. I got a couple of my students here, watch. This is what we're going to do. So, he's forward, just, okay, and I'm like this. This is what I want. Can you see that?
No. Lower.
Down. Just like that. So, cross, there, okay, now. John, you push against her. Okay, back in, you're in a good position with your feet. Okay, good. Now, John, push her to your left.
Yeah.
Okay, now, back and turn your hand over with your thumb down. Okay, now push. Much harder. Okay? Okay, now, switch your feet, Becca. You thumb down. Now push. Okay, put your thumb up. Push. Entirely different structure, okay? This is throughout all of the medieval and Renaissance period books that I've looked at so far. It's amazing that, again, the amount of knowledge that these folks had in doing their martial arts was just phenomenal. Okay, here's the third one. Becca, can you stand up one more time? You know, does anybody have a rondelle?
No.
Okay.
We have a bottle.
We got some water bottles.
Yeah.
Okay, water bottle. Now this is bizarre.
Who needs the rondelle?
You do, John.
Okay.
Okay, Becca, I want you to cross your hands in front of you. Okay, now, if John pushes down with that, go ahead and push. Becca, you hold it. Okay, now John, turn the bottle around so the point's up. No, turn it in your hand. Turn it completely. There you go. Now push down. Okay, you just turned a bottle around. All right, and because of the direction of the press, you lost it. Now here's another one. Okay, put your hands back up. You don't need the bottle anymore, John.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, now put your hand and press again.
Yeah.
Okay, now press down really hard.
Yeah.
Okay, now Becca, what I want you to do is I want you to clamp your fists together. Clamp your fist.
Yeah.
Okay, now press down, John. Okay, interesting. Now, this is what we're gonna do. Becca, all I want you to do is that. Stick your halfway up and press, John. Okay. So, the littlest position, she simply put her little fingers halfway out. And John could not push her down. Without having those fingers up, she was easily pushed over. Now, do we see that in Fiore's art? Absolutely. We see it right here. Okay. We go over here and we look here, and you can see actually in this specific drawing, this drawing was redrawn. Literally from here to there it was redrawn, and see that pinky out? If you cross your arms this way, actually the way it shows, not directly in front of you, because you don't do that. Even in Talhoff, you don't do that. You either do it to the left or right. You don't take a blade straight down on you. Because how long is a rondelle? A rondelle is the length of the person's forearm. Don't have somebody 4'2" try to stop somebody 6'8". He steps off to the right, but you notice his pinky. If I just have a fist here, this person can actually push me to the right. If I have my pinky extended, this person cannot move me. So I guess my point on this manuscript particularly, like I said, I don't know other manuscripts, right? Is that if you look closely, you're going to see some superior martial arts. It's just fascinating on how a little change in the body can make a huge difference in the effect, either for the attacker or defender. In fact, if you're doing your tournament or you want to play with this afterwards, take your long swords, cross them. One person have both right foot forward, and what Fiore shows in his manuscript is the thumb. Literally, his thumb. We gotta see a picture. Okay, his thumb is up when he's taking a true edge against a true edge. When the guy has his right foot forward, if his opponent has his left foot forward, he drops his thumb. That's it. If I have my thumb up and the guy's right foot forward, we're equal. If I drop my thumb, I can be pressed aside. Conversely, if he's left foot forward, I have my thumb down, he can't push me. If I have my thumb up, he can't. It's bizarre. So in any case, we've only got 10 more minutes, so I'm just going to stop here. I wish we had more time, but technology and everything sort of shortened things up. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Shoot.
Hi, Brian. I'm Samantha. How's it going?
Good, thank you.
I'm wondering, are you working on a series of video lectures where we can look this up in the future?
Yes, actually, we are at the Scala. We're working on it. It's my problem is that I like to do things correctly. I don't want to be right. I want to be correct. And what happens is that the more we study these, the more we realize, the more there is. And so we probably got about 20% of this down to where we perform it properly. I mean, it's there. If you really take the time, let me show you something real quick. There's going to be some video up on the Getty website very shortly of Chuck and I performing with the one-hander. By the way, it's not okay. According to all of the PhDs I'm working with, I am paying PhDs, one at Roehampton University, one at Oxford, senior professors to do my translation work. And the translations that I'm coming back with are different than what's available at this point in time. Such as, Dente di Cingario does not, or Mazzana Dente Cingario does not say that you attack like a boar would attack. It actually says you attack like you would wound a boar, which is an entirely different thought process, because if anybody's been boar hunting, you never take a boar straight on, you come at it from the side. So Cingaro is different than what has been understood to date, simply because of translation thing. But this is fascinating here. When looking at this, you'll see 5 fingers on there. You'll see all the fingers. This makes no logical sense to us. See that? Yet, this is in 3 or 4 different drawings. He's got his fingers on, all 5 fingers on the inside. It's fascinating. We practice it, we understand it now, but, so this is the kind of stuff where we stop and look at it and then have to redo it because we start discovering these things when I can sit down with the manuscript and I can look at it. And I'll tell you what, I've got a fella here. Both these fellows were with us at the Getty last weekend to look at the manuscript, and it is entirely different than what you're looking at here. The clarity is amazingly better than anything we've got on video. But if you want to write me, Brian at scalasanmarco.org, okay? And if you want a video, I'll do one for you. How's that?
Yay!
Now, if everybody sends me a different request, I'm going to scream. And I'll also be putting out a paper probably about 3 months on the rubrics, because I broke the rubrics. So Once I get that paper done, I'll put it out, and the rubrics, Fiore specifically says that the rubrics, that being the first colored letters, actually mean something. I mean, the guy says it in his book. So I worked on it and worked on it and slept on it, and one day I was in, I won't say where I was, but I got out of the tub and put on some clothes, ran upstairs, grabbed Alex and said, this can't be for real. And I broke the rubric, and I did exactly what was told me to do, and it was perfect, absolutely perfect. So I sleep with this stuff. It's really sad. So anybody else have any questions? Okay. I'm going to tell you what you really need to do is go back and look at everything you're studying. I don't care what it is. Look at the feet relative to the position of the sword. Everybody gets focused up on top. And you need to look at the whole picture, because if, as I showed you with Becca sticking your hand out versus having your hand in, and that's in Marozzo. Marozzo literally has it that if your arm, I don't know if I can't do it here, but if your arm is out and you can have your arm out and your hand up, okay? But if your shield's in and your sword's up, you can get pushed back easily on your buckler. But if you drop your hand down here, you can't get pushed. It's right in Marozzo. And that's just one of many different books I looked at yesterday just to do this. So I'm sorry I wasn't, had a little more to talk about, but time's time. No more questions?
No, it doesn't look like it. I think, thank you, Brian.
All right, well, you guys have I wish I was there. It'd be fun.
Yes, you do. Wish you were here.
I wish I was there. No, you'd have to listen to me a lot longer, and that'd probably be bad for all of you, but
You wish you were here with me.
I do. I get a dance in Vegas.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, you guys have a good day, all right?
Yep, thank you.
Hey Brian, I'll write you. Thank you very
All
much.
right, please do. Feel free. I'll do whatever you want me to do, okay?